Every so often, and I'm speaking primarily to the kids right now, representatives from all of the Lions clubs around the world get together and at an international convention. And in 1964, so that's 52 years ago, I went to the International Lions Convention with my father, who was representing Colorado. And at the time I was 15, so that gives you kind of a sense of how old I am, but I was your age when I was there. Now at every convention, they have a speaker. And at the 1964 Toronto Convention, the speaker was George Wallace. George Wallace was running for president of the United States. So this was a big thing. And George Wallace was governor of Alabama, and eventually he was governor of Alabama 4 times. So again, this was a big thing, but George Wallace was rather controversial. He was controversial because he saw things in black and white, and I mean that literally. He thought that white people were good, and black people, well, he wasn't so sure about that. So he was quoted one time of saying segregation now, segregation tomorrow, and segregation forever. I might tell you that before he died, he changed his mind, which is a good part of the story. Anyway, my father didn't agree with this, but he said, we ought to go listen to the speech, see if he's, it's not just pronouncements, but if he actually has some substance to what he's saying and the like. So let me, again, put a little more context on this. At the Lions Convention, there were thousands, and I mean thousands of representatives. So this was in a huge auditorium that was either, I don't know, a basketball, or more probably it was an ice rink, because this was Canada. And so there were stands all around the place, and on this flat floor, they'd set up lots of chairs. And we sat in the 3rd row, down on the floor, in the middle, right under the nose, right under the nose of the speaker. So that's the and so I if you were looking for me, you could find me no matter what seat in the auditorium you were in. Now, 5 minutes into the speech, my dad leans over to me and says, "We're leaving." We're right down in front, in the middle, right under the guy's nose, and he stands up, and we're in the middle of the row, so it's, excuse me, trying to get out of the row, and the people are annoyed and all that, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. Remember, I'm 15, I'm your age. And we walk slowly down the aisle. It was the longest building I think I'd ever been in. I was mortified. I thought I was going to die. I thought every pair of eyes in that auditorium was looking at me. And we got outside, and I was a little surprised to find there were about 100 or 200 protesters outside. But the most amazing thing about this is I turned around, and there were about 30 or 40 people who followed us. So we started walking out, but there were 30 or 40 who followed us out. So there are 2 things I take home from this that I'd like you guys to also take home. One of them is, you can make a statement, you can make an impact on people, and you don't have to yell, and you don't have to fight. You can stand up and make an impact. We made it by walking out. Sometimes you make an impact by just standing there And there's a very famous video of a man in China who was standing in front of tanks in Tiananmen Square, and the tanks were trying to stop protesters. But he stood there, and he didn't move. So you can do things without yelling and without causing fights. And the second thing, and this is relevant for today, the second thing I learned was that when you go to a speech, it can be a political speech, it can be your teachers, it can be a minister or imam or somebody who's telling you something. Listen carefully. Get past the pronouncements. I'm good, you're bad, this is not fair, we need to do this. And see if you can get to the substance. Why is it not good? What do you think you might do about it? So listen for substance, and that's what I'm going to be doing today with your speeches, listening to substance. So that was a long introduction, but one of the things they do at these conventions is they give out pins. And this is a Colorado pin. Everybody wanted the Colorado pin, so I have all kinds of pins in here, in this yellowed box from 52 years ago. Here's something from Holland and France and Africa and different groups from all over the United States. And it's kind of fun. So I'd like to give it to the club here, and as you display things that are historical, this is another thing to add to it. So thank you.